Hello, hello. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming. What a fun week we've had, huh? So, um, I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope we'll let some more people join. Appreciate everybody spending some time with us. And Taylor, it's good to see you back. Hello, and Allie too.
Yay!
You weren't here last week. Thank you for coming by today to help us go through some of this news. And Allie, thank you for spreading so much joy with the style reference, the index. That is just so amazing. She put so much work into that. We have to mention that later.
I'm exhausted, but I think it's because of the news, not because I'm having so much fun with the style reference,
That's true.
to be
Yeah, because
fair.
it's like a relief a little bit, and it's definitely there's so many options and so many possibilities. So thank you for providing that. If anybody doesn't know, Allie has a Mid Journey style reference code index with how many do you have on there now?
Well, visible right now, there's over 400 of them, but it is growing very fast. More to be released, and there's much more to come for the whole portal.
Thank you. And she has visual examples so you can see, get an idea of what they look like. And some of them are just amazing. And everybody that, we're sharing those and we're having a good time doing that. And as you put some of those into your index also, right? Just so we can
Yes,
kind of,
and yeah, and the idea is that whatever I share, and if I share a specific one that you see on X, that you will see that as a featured um, style. And when you click on the featured style, so it's rotating, right? And ideally, I'll be doing it almost once a day, new featured style, and then basically you can click on it and you can see more images generated with that style. And while we're on this subject and waiting to get started and having more people in here, I just want to, if I may, bring up a couple of points of the style reference which people may not know. And one of the most important things is that, so when you see the kind of the base style, and if you see that it's an illustration or if it's a photograph or something in between or who knows what it is, I personally have a hard time labeling what everything is because there's a lot of mixtures of things. The important thing to know is that you can change to some degree or to quite drastically the actual starting style reference. So if you are looking for example, a photographic image of, or you want to have like let's say orange flavored style that generates photographic images, don't miss out on the ones that are illustrations. You can very easily, most of the time, change them to photographic or photorealistic images by simply adding some of the parameters that Midjourney allows us to add. So, for example, if you see an illustration as the blank starting point, if you add photo of whatever your subject is, or photographic, or any type of photo terms, right, of a documentary photo or so on, in addition to pump up the stylized value, so going from the default 100 to 400, 500, 600, wherever it may be, depends on the style. You may need to really go high, or sometimes you only have to do a little bit. And then sometimes also adding the parameter style raw allows you to do more photorealistic images. It doesn't always work. It depends on, in my opinion, again, this is not scientific by any stretch of the imagination, but just from my testing of, I've now ran thousands of style references, and not just ran them, but as in I studied them, which kind of will be a moot point since they won't work on version 7, but there will be something similar. But I'm having an insane amount of fun. But basically, just know that sometimes the style is very strong. And for example, I shared one yesterday, which is the style reference 480. I am currently generating photo images of that style, and I'll share it a bit later. I ran out of time to do it before this spaces, but it has a very strong tendency to add some of the kind of, I mean, it's a wonderful flair. of the illustrative lines into it, and it actually makes fantastic mixture. But just know that it's not necessarily you. If you can't get something out of it, or if you think that it's just one thing, you can mold it to a lot of different things, which I think is part of the fun that we're having with this right now. Sorry for the long rant.
Well, no, that thank you so much. And I was gonna just to clarify for anybody who was wondering, if you use the stylized perimeter with it, if you want it to be the higher number that you use, up to what 1,000, will make it more like the way you want it to be, right?
It depends. So again, I don't know exactly. I mean, these are just all like seeds, basically the style seeds, and there's 4 billion of them, and certainly I don't know how exactly it works, but it's just like basically they're vector space. It's not a database. It's a space that these things are generated, and depending on whatever the style is, the stylized. So basically I'm talking about the regular stylized, right? So the stylized that goes from the default 100 to 1,000, which is the more beautiful, perhaps, or more, rich, if you will. But then there is the SW, which is the style weight. So that is a standard 100, and that also goes to 1,000. So if you add, it's supposed to be more raw style the higher you go. However, that's again something else that you want to play with and see how much, if at all, or how significantly it changes the style from the default. And in my experience, sometimes it changes some things a little. It maybe makes it a little bit cleaner the higher numbers you go. Then of course you can also go lower than 100, from 0 to 100, and take a or get a different effect of it. So it completely basically depends on what you want to do and where you want to go with it. So the best thing that you can do is just mess around with different values and see which one fits what you're kind of going for. And maybe it's not going for anything. I just typically get an idea of what the style kind of lends itself to, and then I just run with it. And I may run hundreds and hundreds of prompts with, various random subjects and terms as well.
Yeah, that's true because you're running like hundreds for each style reference code that you're doing, and I can understand how easy that is too. But thank you so much because it saves people if they don't have the turbo plans and things like that. They can you're doing it to help people know what they can do with it, so that they don't have to run hundreds also. So just kind of take that in mind. And I will mention really fast. I know it might be a moot point, but well, it's not a moot point. We were talking about like sharing our work, and of course we know we all share our work freely that we post on here. And we had that situation this week where somebody created a product and used our actual images and put them on a style reference code, downloadable product, without they kind of put a quick reference to some of the people, the creators that they got those images from. They didn't like just use the style reference codes to make their own images. They used ours and put them on there on the cover. And it was free, but you could donate money if you could choose to pay. But if we're just talking about like, it's not so much that somebody used the stuff that we shared freely, but what's fair. Just at least I would think putting our names in a link to that actual post, so that you can, just for proper credit, because we went through the time to do that, or just run them all your own on your own, and do that. Like Dogan, I see here. Thank you for your, the demonstrate how you have the different sets that you were displaying, that you were posting, and I saw that you used them to make your own images, and it's like that makes sense, right? But even if you don't, I don't mind people using it, but just make sure that you credit each and every person. There were 40 people that he used those codes from. So I just wanted to bring that up since we're on the air, and just say, let's just show a little bit of community spirit, and at least try to credit people and let them know, or at least let us know that our stuff will be in that product. We can support you, but it has to be something where we're looking at, the benefit for everybody. Please go ahead, guys.
Yeah, so just chiming and adding to that as well. So personally, I don't like, I am sharing all of these things. And just like you said, Heather, I know that there are people who can't necessarily, run as many prompts as I can. And, when I find something that, I think it's great, I want to share it. And it is so that you can use it. You don't, I mean, it's not my style reference. They're not mine. The images that I generate are kind of mine. And I don't, I mean, you can use the style reference and generate all the images you want. You don't, in my personal opinion, you do not have to credit me at all. I just happen to find it. No big deal. You can find it too. Anybody can find it. It doesn't matter. But if you use my images, then I would at least appreciate if you perhaps would like to kindly add my name to it, because I've gone through the work of putting it all together. This is not the only time that I've seen this happen. There's also a whole website that literally steals all of my Twitter or X posts word to word. It literally has, like, because the way that I speak, I say, hey, here is blah, 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 and it's exactly the same thing. And there's no way that I can contact them. And there are others too, not just mine, by the way. So it happens, but that also then can make some people less willing to share, or we're gonna have to start slapping a lot of watermarks in just to, or whatever, right? So it can make it a little bit more challenging. But whatever I share is for everybody to use. And the whole point is, like, go and explore, because it's super fun to run those prompts for yourself and see what you can come up with. Because what I create comes from my brain. What Heather creates, or Alan creates, or Dogan creates, it all comes from our own individual brains. And you can create something so much different and special for you than we cannot, because our brains are not like yours. So
No, perfectly said. Thank you very much. Because yeah, that's the whole point. Go ahead, Alan.
Oh yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Ali, did you say style reference was going away in version 7?
yes, that seems to be the going thought right now from David anyway. There may be some type of style reference and better one coming, but the thought that David had is that because the system will be different, so that means that the style references as we know them now would not work, but they will work with 6.1. And honestly, I'm, at least right now, my feeling is that I am loving them so much, and they help different workflows for whether you are doing creative workflows and need consistent styles. This makes life so much easier, and they will still be available even after V7 comes. So, meaning, my feeling is I'm going to use them and I'm going to make the most out of it. And I'll probably still use them after V7 comes out. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think, and people that are wondering, or if you're new to Midjourney, when something like that comes out, you can still use any of the versions. And if you like, continuing using the what's it, the Sal tuner, you could still use that for version 5, right? Was it 5, 6? I can't even remember. But
yeah, I think it
however,
was 5.
yeah, forgot now. Like, but yeah, just use whatever you feel like. And I pull things out all the time and post them from version 5, and there's some from version 4 even. So use what's comfortable for you. But okay, so we will. There was a lot happening to this week, and started out with OpenAI, the spring update, and that was pretty mind blowing for a very short period of time. They were only on there about, what, 30 minutes or so, unless I'm wrong. I might have missed some of that, but we heard about a lot. Biggest thing being GPT 4.0, and that's available right now. That was the most significant thing, I would think, because we could use it immediately, and well, later on that day for most people, which seemed to be faster than the last time that they updated. Right, so the way they rolled it out seemed to be much faster, and the fact that it's free, available for free users, is amazing, and I'm so glad to hear that. And I want to say, I believe that it opens up GPTs also for free users, but I'm not sure. If anybody knows, correct me. But the 4.0 is fast, and it seems to be much more capable, um, of dealing with complex information, and I've gotten some pretty good, output out of it. And it also seems to be more simplistic. It doesn't more like a natural human, where it's not so much where it sounds like AI so much or Chat GPT. Normally, I've compared to different things, and it's much more succinct and has some pretty good, very good reasoning capabilities and things like that. Also, the ChatGPT desktop app, which is only available for Macs and Plus users, I think. I did download that, and that works. That's pretty cool because it can take screenshots. I haven't done any screenshots yet, but I figured out how to use it. And the interface is very simple and smooth, easy to use. And I don't think it takes up much space on the on your machine either. It was very fast, and also it seems to be synced with your ChatGPT on the web app. So that was awesome. Oh, I see Linus is here. I don't know if you could talk, but I'm so glad to see you. He's been out there and he's been right in the thick of things with the Google. I don't know if you were at OpenAI's event too, or at least you were around a lot of people who were, but we'll get you a mic in a second. And if you could talk, I'd love to hear you. But what do you guys think about what was the thing that's surprised you the most from the announcements from OpenAI, first of all? If the panel, if you guys feel like answering
I can
that.
chime in. I can chime in really quick. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. I'm up in Toronto right now and may have unstable internet, but I'm also next to a fish tank. So if you hear that, that's what's happening. Um, I like there feels like there was so much news this week, and I've barely kind of like scratched the surface or the tip of the iceberg on this. But I love that GPT 4o, which is like Omega, I think. Um, is just like instantly available, and I found it to be really really fast, a lot of great like logic, and it's been kind of my go-to. I don't know if anyone knows this or not, but if it can be integrated into GPTs, there's a question that I still have. I know that it's rolling out or is currently available in the API, and is also kind of like now the base model for free users, which is amazing. But I wanted to ask you, Heather, in terms of the web app for Mac, I have not downloaded it yet, but like, what would be the use case for even doing it? Like, I do everything in my browser, and so I'm kind of like, do I want to download it and just like have it as its own thing? I I might find some value out of it that way, but like, I'm curious if there's anything that really stands out as like the real reason why it's great as an app.
No, honestly, I don't think it has I don't think you're going to miss out on anything except for the ability to take a screenshot. That's kind of different, and you can take a screenshot or a window. I'm not sure. I guess it depends on what you're using it for, because I have a lot of you can just use your native screenshot app. But it doesn't seem like it takes up much space. It's very lightweight and very easy to use. And it's just more simplistic than the web app. So I guess it just depends on what you're working on. And I guess if you're not online, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense. I think if you're like a visual person as well, having like that difference of of different apps that you have live at any given moment, especially if you are using ChatGPT on the regular anyways, it makes sense to have kind of an app down there to differentiate it from your normal browser behavior. But good feedback. I'm interested if anyone else has any points to make on that. But that was my 2 cents.
No, and also I'll mention I just got a new Mac this week, and I have more space, or else I wouldn't even bother downloading it because I didn't have any more room on my MacBook Air. So that made a big difference too. It just depends on what you're working with. Anybody else have anything to add? And Justin, welcome.
Well, first of all, I'm jealous because I have not gotten my notification for the desktop app yet. And I downloaded it from a link, but it won't let me in because I'm not yet authorized to use it. But the real use case for the desktop app is the replacement of what I use, which is Rewind, which basically takes a screenshot of everything I do throughout the day, so that if I go, oh, there was that tweet or there was that email I was thinking about, and it had to do with Microsoft and their new application here, and I can key in those keywords and it'll find all of that, right? Or it basically becomes like your tandem intern that's looking over your shoulder and keeping everything organized and identifying. At least that's, I think, the end case of what they're trying to do there. But yes, I'm still jealous because I have not yet received my notice, and I don't know. I'm just not on a special list somewhere yet.
Well, normally I'm the last to get it too, and I just happened to be doing something on my web app, and I saw it popped up when I went. I think I was using a GPT, and when I went out to use just the GPT 4.0, that 4.0, it said download the web app, I mean download the desktop app. So I try to take a screenshot real fast so I could share it with people, and then hurry up and download it and use it. So it's kind of weird. It just popped up while I didn't close the app or anything or reopen it. It just kind of popped up there. So look for it. But I saw some links for that too to download it, and I was kind of afraid to try it because I didn't know. I wasn't sure if that was suspect or not. But I think yeah. So you rewind. Now I'm looking for rewind. That's a Mac app, right? That you can install.
Yeah, yeah. It basically just kind of sits there. In fact, I have it turned on for audio, so anything that's in within earshot of my computer, it transcribes that all day long, and so I can go back and look at notes, what I said. So it's like that. Zoom has this feature built in now where it'll record everything, and so you can ask for summaries. But I think eventually that's what the desktop app is going to be that, and then it'll take it to the next level, which is becoming your autonomous agent to say, hey, be sure you respond to those 3 emails that I had for those potential customers, and it'll do that in your sleep by just going into your browser and actually acting as taking over your computer essentially. But I think that'll be the really interesting use cases on those, which is just that automation on things when it comes to what you do when you're sitting at your desk.
Well, thank you so much. I love new tools like that, and I'm gonna check that out and try to drop it into the chat. But has anyone done? Have you done anything interesting with GPTO?
Yeah, I've been using it. I use it in my day job. The API now requires you to use the version 2 of the API, so I had to go back and fix things. It kind of broke my workflows with Zapier and with Make.com because they're upgrading right now to make sure they can get there. But which only means I have to do it manually now. So I go into my assistants, and the language is great. I want the noticeability of less cliche content is the key differentiator here. Like, I think it was getting a little stale. Those of you who don't know, I do fundraising for nonprofit groups and political campaigns over text messages, and when I do that, I ask it for examples, copy. It gets me like 75-80% of the way there, and I look at past successes to train it, but of late, it was just getting so stale and boring. It was using the same alerts and same emojis. And this one kind of gave it a really good refresh. And I really like that. Plus, when I do my now daily stories with my kids, but when they're going to bed, and it would take so long for the response time. It's not yet up to on the app. It's not to the voice that we saw in the demo, but it's definitely snappier. So the response time is great for when I do story time hour for the kids using ChatGPT to create a story from complete whole cloth that evening.
That is so cool. Yeah, I want to do something. I keep seeing the things that people are doing with it, but I can't get my mind straight to kind of like come up with something really cool to do. But what do you guys? Anybody else? Alan, Allie?
Yeah, Justin, I'll just say you're not the only one that doesn't have desktop access yet. I'm still waiting, so we're in the same boat. Um, maybe maybe they don't like our avatars or something. Um, yeah, I'm really loving GPT 4.0. It you know I've been storyboarding. I've been doing some work. I've been storyboarding and just kind of writing, back and forth and talking to GPT 4.0 while I'm doing it. And it's the first time I kind of got lost talking to a chat where I kind of felt like I was talking to a real person, and I had to catch myself. I wish they probably didn't. I wish they didn't make that voice so attractive. I wish they made it kind of grumpy, like an old man or something. That'd be better. But yeah, I love it so far.
So wait, I haven't had it talk to me yet. So the voice, that same voice, is already in there now. The woman's voice.
No, it's well, you can use different voices. Hold on, let me 1 second.
Well, the thing, if you should try it out because on the web app and the iOS app, it is still the legacy voice. But on the desktop app, as I understand it, that is the true voice they demoed there. So you should be able to try out the voice demo if you have the desktop Mac install.
Okay, if I could multitask, I would do that now for you guys, but I'll forget what I was doing. But thank you. I didn't realize that. Well, what so what surprised you the most? Because for me, it was that voice and the ability to have emotion in the voice and to change and sound very natural. I didn't expect it to really be like her or just like that.
Yeah, you can adjust that voice too. Um, you can make it sound more natural or not. As far as the capabilities, there's a lot of stuff that they didn't even really mention during the demo that GPT-4o can do. Like if you actually go to the website and go through some of those options, so the text generation is so much better, right? You can generate full blocks of text now. You can do 3D object generation, uh, commemorative coins, poetry. It's just the amount of stuff that the new version can do completely blows away the previous one.
I
And
also
the vision components too.
That's what I was going to say. You can even well on that website where they have the demos. You can up. They uploaded a 45-minute long video and like talk to the video. That's pretty cool. That you'll be able to use video input too once this is rolled out because those things are not available yet, right? What you just mentioned, like the text
Correct.
generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That,
And then the sort of live video feed into the mobile app where you're going around and like if you go to one of the videos is really compelling is a guy who is completely legally blind and he's based out of the UK and he was using the app to navigate around London. So for example, he's in front of Buckingham Palace and he asks the app, "Is the king in residence?" Which of course you can tell if there's a flag flying or not, and the app recognized that the king's signet was there, which indicates he was there at Buckingham Palace. So little things like that, which I think will be really interesting. That's going to, I mean, and you saw Google jumped on that demo as a key piece of their I/O as well.
that's true. What do you guys for OpenAI? What are you going to do when you do get the desktop app, or when we have access to some of those advanced features? What's the first thing you want to do?
Oh, the voice for sure. No, I definitely want to jump on the voice thing and try it out because I just find when I do this all day long with my Mac. The Mac has great narration capabilities, right? So I have like a little hotkey. I think it's on Mac in there. If you double tap your command key on Mac, it'll bring up a microphone, and I just talk to it like I'm instructing an intern, right? Or I'm instructing a person who's my advisor, and we walk through things. It's just so much faster for me than typing. But I think that conversational thing is a big component there, and then the back and forth on video stuff. So being able to, for example, take a video that I can pull down from YouTube, upload it to Chat GPT. It'll transcribe it. It'll summarize it. It'll produce it in 3 different content channels that I want, and produce the imagery to go along with it. Now I've just taken what would have taken me 2 hours and cut it down to 20 minutes.
Yes, now I will be able to use my summary tools, but that probably will be better. And I also thank you because now I see I'm not using my Mac effectively, Justin. I need to talk
All
to you
good.
to get better use. I'm not taking advantage of a
You'll
lot.
get there.
Well, for then after that, we thought that that was so much, what could top that? And then Google, had theirs. And was that the next day? I think, yeah, that was the next day. And that was pretty incredible with the things that they announced, especially, basically having a similar type of AI assistant, the vision or voice assistant is Astra. That's pretty amazing. And it was pretty impressive, the demos they were showing. And I was shocked to see that video app, which looked pretty close to Sora level to me. And I definitely signed up for the wait list. And anybody here, you go to the Google Labs AI Test Kitchen and sign up for that, because you can use it whenever they start, granting access to it. It'll be within the Video FX tool that is new on Google Labs. And I'm assuming that's free as the other tools are on there, like the Music FX and Notebook and things like that. But yeah, that was a lot happening, and I'm rambling. But what are you all thinking about what happened? What Google announced? What was the most surprising, or what are you
Yeah,
most impressed with?
the video model looks great. Hopefully, they give us access really soon. Google does have a tendency to drag their feet on some of these things, but 60 seconds, 1080 p, it looks really good. It looks like they trained it on a lot of synthetic data, especially if you look at some of those examples, like the car example or even the dog. It looks pretty synthetic, more than Sora does, which is kind of surprising. I figured they would train it on all their YouTube data, but it looks good. Hopefully, again, they roll it out.
I thought there were two things that stood out for me. One was they had some tremendous use cases that I think went beyond what Chat GPT, what OpenAI was demoing, just because they have such a breadth of tools. So one of them was, for example, and this was deep in the developer session, was a Notebook LM, which is basically just like an ability to collect all your notes, organize them in an automatic fashion, and then query them with Gemini, right? But one of the neat things they did was this one guy got up to give a demo, and he said, "My son was doing a physics lesson at school. He's got all this notes, and they're all organized here, and he can query them. It'll automatically, create a study guide. It will automatically create an FAQ. It'll do a quiz, and we've seen that with Chat GPT. But then they took it to the next level, and I've never seen this use case before. They basically said, create me a podcast based on all the content that's in this subject between two people, and have them ask questions of my son. And so immediately it goes into these two voices, male and female voice. Hey, John, how are you today? I'm doing great, Sharon. And I guess what we have on the topic today is Einstein's theory of relativity, right? And it looks like we got a question from the audience from Josh, right? And he said he did it this way because his son learns so much better over audio than he does over other elements. And I thought that was a tremendous use case. But then one more point, and I think this was the important thing, and maybe those of you know official Logan, who went from OpenAI, I believe, over to Google. Uh, I think he had an influence on kind of the user experience there, because so many of the tools that come out of labs.google are just like they're coded for cloud.google. And if you've ever been to cloud.google.com, you have to be a pretty serious admin to make any headway in there. And now the labs.google.com front page is so friendly and user facing. And so that tells me like Google's very serious of challenging that huge adoption that OpenAI had. So that was the big takeaways I had.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I love the Google Labs, or labs.google page. There's just so much, and I can just play around with the tools on there. And even for like the image FX is just awesome with the way it can, there's a lot of advanced technology with that already. It was already doing, far and beyond what you would imagine just for generating images as far as image analysis. That was really amazing. And they're using that right now already, right in the Google search, if you want to like search your image on your phone. And that's very helpful. Just a little thing like the little quality of life things. I just used the Google LM, the Notebook LM right before this space, just to kind of make a quick, just dropped in a bunch of articles, copied and pasted to come up with like a little agenda summary for this space. And it was pretty easy to use, and I think that's great to come up with those kind of ideas, just a way that people don't have to be afraid to use it for education. That's a perfect way to use it, so that it is something that's stimulating. And it's fun. It's in a interesting way. Like I could see them doing something like Jeopardy, making Jeopardy questions or something like that, because the kids do that a lot of times in school to help study for prepare for exams, and you could do that for coding or whatever you're learning at the time as an adult. So I think that's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty. This was a lot that happened this week, and also, what about the advancement, the things that you will be able to do with like the Gmail? Even isn't there a way that it will start organizing it for you? That I'm still trying to get my 40,000 emails down. I don't know. I thought I heard something about that, but that it'll be better than what it has been so far in the in your the Google suite of products in the workspace.
You and me both, Heather. I can't believe that there's not a solution, or or at least not a solution that I've been able to easily implement myself. My inbox is just like the bane of my existence. So I know that there's so many like Google products out now, and I know we were kind of like talking before this and put together some thoughts before this space, and there's like a whole list of products from Google that have AI integrations. It's hard kind of keeping track of like what's what and how the lineup is. Like it's crazy that just like a year ago there were like two to three big ones that everyone knew, and now it's like there's just all these different layers to it. Um, which is exciting. But yeah, I don't know if anyone has an answer to that, but I also would love to know if there's a way that we can like level up our inboxes, or even like our Google workspaces, like all of the shared apps, Google Docs and the Sheets and and whatever, all of the different ones, slides. If anyone has any thoughts there.
Yeah, because honestly, the AI that's in like Google Docs now and even in Sheets is not really that helpful. Everything I ask it, it'll say, it can't do that right now. I'm like, what's the point? If you can't
Right.
find this
It's
thing
like
in
the
the
opposite of helpful. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So what's the point? So if it would be a little bit more integrated in those tools, that would, that would be very helpful. And yeah, I'm looking forward to any kind of. I'm not really good with keeping up with automation and things like that. So anybody, if you have tips, please drop them in the chat. I'd appreciate it. And very user friendly with very few instructions. I don't like to read a ton of directions, but yeah, there's so many things. I was trying to make a list of what is available right now that people can use and what is not. And a lot of it is kind of spread out between the developers and regular things that are available right now. Like some things got updated or upgraded with, I think Gemini 1.5 Pro is now available in Notebook LM. And that's why I just happened to jump on there real fast from the Google Labs or labs.google page. And it was pretty easy to use, but then they have some other things. Does anybody I don't know how much you guys use Gemini or the Google products or are you more ChatGPT or Bing? What are you using?
Um, Funny. So just to brag first, inbox zero over here. Woo! That is my way to go. Only way to go ever.
Teach us your ways, Allie, please.
It's a lot of delete, I guess. Or then I just don't get a lot of stuff. But interestingly enough, for somebody that uses all Google products, I do not really use Gemini. I tried, but I keep going back to ChatGPT. And if I have to try to pinpoint why that may be, and I can point it to one direction, and that is the voice, the iOS app, because the way that I use ChatGPT the most is with the voice. I like to talk to it and oftentimes get frustrated and bang my head to the wall. But regardless, that is my preferred way of communicating. I don't even like to talk with the desktop, even though I'm on the desktop all the time. But I like to grab my phone, excuse me, grab my phone and just have that voice conversation. So that is the number one thing that I go to. Now, I also noticed that Perplexity now has a voice on the app on the phone, which is great because I use Perplexity all the time. That is my go-to. So Google, and this comes from somebody, so I have 2 decades of digital marketing and SEO and have been very focused on ranking things on Google. And I don't use Google, which goes to show something. And speaking from the search side of things, I think Google is really sweating buckets right now and they are in trouble. And hey, even the top dog sometimes can come down, I guess. Maybe there's going to be, it's going to take a little while, but things will change, in my opinion, anyway, from that side of things. But um, I like to use ChatGPT for the voice or anything. So Anthropic, because they don't have a native voice, I'm not using it, even though I like Claude. But I do go there too. But it seems to be that I keep going back to ChatGPT, and then I can combine the voice with now the other tools, which makes it even better. And I saw somebody post, and I don't know who it was, and I don't know even if this is true, but they said that in their settings, there's actually a setting that now you could connect ChatGPT with your Google Drive, which would be pretty big. So I didn't see it on mine, but I don't know if anybody can confirm that. But if that's the case, yes, I'm all for it.
I did thumbs up because I saw that, but I don't know if that's true.
It's rolling out again at the end of the list. I'm here, but I keep thinking someone from OpenAI is going to pop in here and they're going to take all our names down, and then by the time the space ends, boom, access.
Hey, that's why you're here. Thank you. Like, you can draw them in, Justin. I hope so. Please, open AI. Just listen up here real fast. But no, that's, and by the way, Perplexity, the GPT 4.0 is available in Perplexity right now too. I'm not sure if it's on I'm assuming it's on the mobile app too. But since you mentioned that, and are you using the Claude app or the Anthropic app, Ali?
No, I have not used it at all. I think what it comes down to at the end of the day is as we're like navigating through these different tools, because now many of them are having similar, capabilities to an extent, and where you're going to land somewhere, or at least I am. Like, I feel like I don't want to bounce from one thing to the other. Like, I'm hoping that I have less jumping around and I can get more accomplished from any workflow standpoint easily and more streamlined. So, if ChatGPT can do it, even though there are issues other places as well. And I've done quite a lot of comparison between the different chat bots, so whatever we call them these days, from Claude to Gemini to ChatGPT, and there are similarities, and then some might be, or one might be better in one place, but then another one is better at another time. And then now I think with ChatGPT, I don't know, what are we going to call it? Are we calling it 4.0 or Omni, or what are we calling it? I don't even know, but 4.0 basically, for little o. It seems like it's now kind of again edging on this race. So I guess it depends on where your comfort level is or what you get used to using, and you're probably going to pretty much stick to that unless something happens and it's not producing the results that you want.
Yeah, good point. And I also want to mention that Grok. I think we were talking about this last week or the week before, but Grok from X seems to have actually gotten a lot smarter. I noticed. I think I saw Pierrick that he posted something about how accurate it was just asking for the top news. And when I've done that before, a lot of time I get some junk. But I noticed I did that a few times for different types of questions, and it was pretty accurate and very fast. And it didn't give me the usual, like the posts that are like have 10, impressions and things like that. That's what I was getting before. So I just wanted to say that's an option if you want to ask something to Grok. If you have access, I'm not sure how that works, but whatever. Just put that out there. But speaking of X, now the domain change. Now we're officially x.com, right? Instead of twitter.com. So does anyone know if that will break your links if you have links outside, like on your website or something like that, to your X profile? Or
I
it will
am
automatically redirect?
Yes, I would really hope that it automatically redirects, that they've set it up like that, because otherwise it would be a disaster.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Anybody else gonna try?
I think
Like,
it'll be fine. I think they've taken that into account, but I have to get used to it. I haven't noticed. Is it like, oh, it is. It's redirecting to X now, because I noticed whenever I would manually like embed a video, right? You put in the link and you put slash video slash one, and that embeds a video from one person's tweet into yours. And I've had to always change the domain from X to Twitter to do that, but now it looks like I'll have to just keep it at X. I don't know. That's just a little hack that I'm worried about.
I need to hear that hack again because I still can't do
Well,
that.
no, yeah, it's just basically if you go to if you see someone's video embedded and you can't download it, right? It's easy to repost that on like your mobile app because you just hold down your thumb on the video and repost it. But on your desktop app, you have to kind of hack around it. You take the URL of the tweet that has the video attached to it, and then you paste that into your tweet and put a slash video slash one, and then that video will be embedded on your tweet. That person will still get the credit and views, but at least you'll have it on your feed there. So
Oh, thank you. Because yeah, I never do it on my phone, and I like and you. So, but you can't do. You have to do it on the web app if you're doing it like that, right? Or does it have to be
right
on the
on
desktop app?
no on yeah the desk on just no you can do it on your browser app.
Okay, and not through like a scheduling app. Like if you want to do a curated post, a
Yeah, no,
curated.
you could take that same URL and then schedule it to be posted off and curated at another point. Yeah, it'll do it. I think.
Oh, cool. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, you can also hold down the video if you're on mobile, and you'll get a pop up window where you can just it'll automatically go into a new tweet for you to repost it.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that either. Wow. Okay. Cool. That's how everybody's doing these long curated threads that have all these different source videos on there. Wow. Thank you very much. Um the one other thing I noticed, did anybody read about Reddit and OpenAI signing they have an agreement together for the information? Ali.
Yes, I just read that too, and I think this is actually interesting. And I mean, didn't wait, was it just announced today? I'm getting confused
Yeah,
with the
yes,
days, but yes,
it was today, like,
because
yeah.
I'm like, well, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it yet, but maybe it's because it just happened. But I think that this can have some, pretty big implication, and also from the Google perspective, by the way, because Google has been really pushing Reddit, and I think they also had some kind of agreement. So they're pushing really all Reddit posts, and they have been showing up on search results really high. Like basically, you don't even have to do anything, and you're going to show up if it's a Reddit post. So it is very interesting to me that now OpenAI has struck this deal, and as I understand it, so they get to use the data from information from Reddit, but then Reddit will perhaps have some kind of open AI ChatGPT integration into Reddit, is what I understand.
Yeah, that's what I got from their official, and that it was a joint announcement that was chat. It's on OpenAI. They announced it also, but they said on the announcement that it was originally written or announced by Reddit, which was I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, they're going to have integration with ChatGPT to get more relevant and timely information. There's an advertising partnership. OpenAI will become an advertising partner for Reddit, and might lead to new ad formats. And let me see, access, they'll have access to Reddit's data API. I guess for developers, that would be interesting. But there's, people are concerned. Reddit stock, I think they went, but their community is kind of concerned because, if you're getting information pulled from Reddit, is that accurate? And then users of Reddit, their data is going without their um, permission, I guess we were saying. So that's interesting. Didn't see that coming.
Also, this is somewhat similar, and I think somebody mentioned that as well, is or like what is the difference between Grok and Twitter or X, right? Like the information is from the platform.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, I think
And
it's from the platform, but also they train it on everything else that GPT trains it on. There's the embedded Grok within your Twitter interface, right? It's on the navigation now, and the navigation at the bottom on the app and everything. But if you go to grok.ai, is that right, or is it? It's actually grok.x.ai. Then they have like an actual regular chat interface that you would expect for ChatGPT or Gemini, and that's available for Plus users. And I've tried it, and it's actually been really speedy and really impressive. I just haven't really gone out and made the rest of it. But the challenge that Grok has is Elon kind of made it a little bit of a side joke, the funny mode and everything else there. So it's hard for me in my professional capacity to say, oh, I'm going to use that until I can really prove it. It kind of has this humorous bent to it, which is fine. It's just I see it as a less serious version of an LLM. But when I try it out, it it works great.
yeah, that's true. There's so many things out there. It's hard to just say, "Oh, that's right. Let me go back and try that." Because I also like to use. Well, I know it has real time information, but Grok, GROQ, I do enjoy using that too, and I like
So
to mix.
speedy, right?
Yeah, I
Oh,
know
so
it's so
fast.
much fun. It
Well,
seems like it
yeah.
limits you for certain. I guess depending on which model you're using.
Yeah,
I read.
yeah. I think they'll have a paid version, but it's so quick. I mean, literally, if you had the right topic and the outline set, you could write an entire book in an hour because it spits out 1,000 tokens a second. It's insane.
And
And
it's very, very. I like how it's very. It doesn't sound like AI as much too. If you're
yeah,
like for the
well,
Mistral,
if you recall a year ago when 3.5 came out and 4.0 came out, and there was this mad scramble from everyone else, including Google. There was a memo leaked from Google, internal memo that had a really interesting phrase in there where one of the researchers just said, "Look, there is no moat, right?" And as you can see, there are so many competitors on all these specs. No one seems to. I mean, it's kind of like the people who have the upper hand are the ones that are kind of first to the apple here, right? It's kind of a first out type of advantage. But in the end, you can see like the differences on the benchmarks between 4.0 and the other ones is like mere points, right? And so I think Brian Ramel, who's a great guy here on Twitter, he mentioned at the end they all end up at the same place, right? So it's still unclear how they're going to totally differentiate this, except by brand and by first to the use case.
Yeah, well, it's AGR or bust for most of these companies. I mean, I think Meta has a really great plan, for going open source, bringing it into all of their platforms, and then showing that these LMs don't need to be closed sourced, right? I mean, again, user experience is the most important thing with all these. Once you get used to using an LLM for the average person, they're not going to jump around. They're not going to go to Grok, ChatGPT, Cloud. They're going to pick one, and that's where they're going to be.
yeah, everything's evening out, and didn't think we would be here this soon. Based on what we had last year, it's just amazing to see how far we've come and how far these different companies have come, and just the people that are coming out with things every day, like Mistral, in Grok, GROQ. But it'll be interesting, and I'm going to go ahead and we covered a lot today. I hope that it was helpful for the listeners here, and I appreciate you coming, and apologize if we didn't have a lot more details, but there's just so much happening. We wanted to try to cover a few of the big ticket items there. So thank you so much. And put any questions that you have in the comments there. And if you want to drop your links, or if you have a product or something you made, a project, a image, video, music, whatever, put it in there and plug yourself. I appreciate. Thank you, Justin, for joining us today on the panel. And Linus, hope
Great
to see you
stuff.
back soon someday. But I hope that you're enjoying the trip with family and out there getting to see everything up close and in person and meeting lots of people. It was great to see all these people that we talk to all the time that were sitting at the table together. That was an awesome time that you guys had there, and it was beautiful to see. But hopefully, we can do more things. Eventually, I'd love to do a video space. Taylor, you down? Anybody else down?
Oh, I'm so down. That would be so much fun, actually.
We're working. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah, I'm
Let's do
working on
it.
it, figuring out streaming and all that. But thank you all for coming. And anything important happening? Oh, Linus, what's up? I'll let you speak for a second.
Thank you. I just want to say we missed you. I mean, it was nice to see four men dressed in black, I guess, but we were definitely missing a lot of the people that are regulars in the community. So I just wanted to, reach out the hand and hopefully next time, next year, there will be more people and not just the four men dressed in black. Sorry that I couldn't speak today. I've been trying to put the kids to sleep and or napping since this afternoon and everything. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and you all have some really good thoughts on what's going on. So thank you.
Thanks, Linus, and I appreciate you just hopping on even for a second there. That's I'm glad that you were able to take the family with you. It's just a beautiful thing. And anybody else, anything happening that you want to mention before we go? Panel, everybody's quiet. No? Okay. I'm working my podcast. It'll be rolling probably next week. Start interviewing, and it's called Intelliverse. Just to let you all know, look for it. I'll post something and give you the link. Almost completely ready, but that's my big news for the moment. But I'm going to be interviewing people to find out the vision behind the minds that are behind generative AI, whether it's creators, brands, founders, builders, artists. Just see, talk to people about what would you be doing with if you weren't in, if you hadn't experienced generative AI or fell in love with it or whatever, and what's your vision for what you're doing with it. But I'm looking forward to that and to interviewing some great people. But I hope that you all have a great weekend. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye bye.
Bye.